Merry Christmas. Hi, guys. Good evening. Merry Christmas. I hope you guys are making preparations for the week and the events to come. I'm only here tonight, Tuesday, which is tomorrow. And then I think the rest of the week I won't be here unless something major happens. Then I might make an excuse to like break away for like maybe 15 minutes. But yeah, I mean, let's just recap what's been going on over the weekend. So I hope you guys have been well. I hope that you are coping with the craziness in the world right now and the mainstream. What's crazy is like, if you a few years ago, like in 2019, we would say the mainstream media and what they were trying to normalize in our daily lives. And what I'm trying to, I guess, reconcile with is the fact that we are having to cope and to shout through the noise within the infiltration and the conservative sphere. Um, and it's such a shame because something happened 3 months ago with Charlie Kirk's assassination, where we were experiencing a genuine revival and this genuine curiosity. Let me just make sure that okay, it looks like my mic is working. There's a genuine curiosity for God and his nature and his word, and the God himself, seeking his face. And it's like all of that got snuffed out by like a lot of conspiracy and drama stuff, in which I do feel the obligation to chase, because a lot of it has derailed a lot of our beliefs and our systems, and genuinely because we were disengaged from the mainstream media in 2019, and now we are trying to find the truth. And sometimes we find the truth through alternative sources, like alternative voices and podcasts and things like that. So with that being said, it's really sad because we depend, and sometimes some of these people, have put all of their eggs in one basket with some of these alternative personalities, and these alternative personalities are now leading people astray. And that's my major concern. Now, AmFest happened over the weekend, and a lot of people had criticisms for what was going on at AmFest. People were disgruntled that AmFest became such a battleground between like personalities and talking heads and voices. And I see that what you saw at AmFest is what is manifested online. And this is what I'm trying to say. Like, this is a real thing that is happening. Culture is being influenced because of politics. Culture is coming downstream from politics. And right now there is a lot of conflict, within the conservative party. And this is very much what you saw online. Uh so just to recap, Ben Shapiro was the first to like kick off the conservative party. Oh, I'm sorry, the AmFest speeches. I was going to say CPAC. But he kicked off AmFest with his speech, and we already covered in another stream how I thought that was a phenomenal speech, because I am aligned with Ben Shapiro with what he was saying. You know, people are outsourcing all of their critical thinking skills, as best as Allie Beth Stuckey put it, to influencers that are capitalizing on that, exploiting that for money, for clicks, for popularity, for following, things like this. And Ben Shapiro is basically putting sense back into the conservative party with the speech by saying, like, if you just believe, I know, but I don't know, but I know, like, this is genuinely a dumb take. And we shouldn't this is not the way that we conduct ourselves as journalists. And I'm speaking in third party, but as journalists, if you're an investigative journalist, but also this is not the way you conduct yourself as somebody who actually cares about the truth. And I think that is like the theme of AmFest this weekend, was the truth. What is the truth? And it was a big battleground. I mean, people had talking heads like Tucker Carlson and Steve Bannon and Megyn Kelly conflicted with, Ben Shapiro and Ellie Beth Stuckey. And for the most part, I do think, as chaotic as it is, I think it's much needed. I think we have to have these conversations. But I don't necessarily think that we need to enable certain ideologies. And that's mainly the theme of tonight's discussion is I don't necessarily want to enable this particular ideology of being so anti-Jewish, anti-Israel. Like, it's just consuming the conservative party, and it is genuinely a mind virus. I want to move on to I want to talk about other things, but that is like the thing that is most concerning to me personally, as somebody who has been in the influencer square, as somebody who has been in alternative media, who has done, the interviews with different networks and stuff like that. Like, it genuinely disturbs me that we are normalizing and sanitizing this behavior. So, I am going to actually show you guys some things. That's my intro, and I'm just gonna say hi to you guys. I basically just saw the chat. Smash the like. Thank you so much, Shelly Shell. Smash the like. Take the link. Share it out. That's the thing. All right, so let's go ahead and jump to some of what was going on. So I'll kick it off with this. Nicki Minaj actually was like the end cap of the entire weekend, and I think everybody was. I mean, I was shocked. Let me just put this here. I was shocked. I know Nicki Minaj was showing hints of conservatism like years ago, but of course, the radical left would never let her, be who she actually
Receive
was.
that.
And, of course, there was a heavy culture of shame in the radical left. And if you thought this, you were a this, and blah blah blah. But this is a byproduct of conservative culture and the pendulum swinging in favor of the conservative party. This is exactly what it is, and this is why I'm talking about the things that I'm talking about tonight, because we do have the pendulum, we have the advantage, we have the presidential election went our way, the House and the Senate went our way, like, um everything went our way, and it's like we can lose all of this very, very quickly if we do not call out the cancer that is within our party. And there is an ideology that is within our party that we absolutely need to correct, and we need to call it out as much as we see it. So, um anyway, Nicki Minaj, she's been speaking out for Christians and the Christians being persecuted and basically genocided in Nigeria, basically because of their beliefs. Christians are the most persecuted religion in the world. That's it. It's Christians, and Nigerians are being executed by what is being reported jihadi Islamist militias in Nigeria. And Nicki Minaj has taken heavy action to talk about this in front of the world. She's gone to the UN. She's spoken about this in front of the UN, and she's taken to her social media to talk about this. And although she has shown hints of conservatism, she outright came out, I would say, like, out of the conservative closet, I would say, over the weekend. Like, this was like, I am conservative. And over the course of like a week or two, she has been coming out as more conservative on X. If you guys are on Twitter, on X, you would see that she was showing a bunch of JD Vance memes, and she has her own like theme of Chucky and things like this. So it's actually funny. But let's take a listen. I thought that this was one of the most important clips of the entire speech that and she actually came out hand in hand with Erica Kirk. I thought that was cool. This is probably the most important speech that I thought was as an excerpt from the entire speech that she gave.
Receive that, bullies. We won't be silenced ever again. We will speak up for Christians wherever they are in this world. Amen.
Amen. I don't know if you can see this at home, but she's getting a ton of standing ovations.
I love you guys so much. Thank you guys.
And she admired President Trump. She was outright admiring President Trump and his boldness to, call out what was going on in Nigeria. And he calls out the right issues, and I'm just glad that she was able to recognize that, in all the other parts of her speech. So, we're gonna pivot. We're gonna do a hard pivot here because there were some definite other themes of AmFest that I think we need to talk about. Um, Guys, this has been like a very it's been hard for me to like not shut up about it, because it's like I see that this is a detrimental issue in the conservative party. And for anybody to say that we just need to stop infighting, we need to stop gatekeeping and causing drama, like that to me is gaslighting. Like there is an actual issue going on in the conservative party, and we've got to address it head on. And that is the hate for Jewish people, and a lot of anti-Semitism. And I know you've heard anti-Semitism in the recent years, especially the radical left, and organizations like the ADL that abused. I particularly like, and guys, I have been in the influencer square. I have been in this culture, conservative culture, for like almost a decade now, and I have seen all of it. I've seen it all. But I remember, like, it's easy for me to be honest. Like I remember the ADL weaponizing their ability to demonize whoever they wanted just because they wanted to, as anti-Semites, or that they are racist and things like this. Like radical leftists were embedded in the ADL, and they have genuinely tarnished the word anti-Semitism, because it's like they weaponize that for their own political gain. But I'm telling you, there is a genuine problem in the conservative party where the people like Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens, like over, like I think her last podcast, who straight outright came out as an anti-Semite. She used to shield her language with like the Zionists, and the Israelis and things like this. But she's full out saying the Jews. Like she is full out coming against the Jews. And that's obviously not right. Like you can't just come out against an entire race of people, religion of people, and just say that they're all like this. You know what I mean? And so I am seeing this in our conservative culture now, and I don't find it right. And I don't care if I lose thousands of followers. I've told you guys this. If this doesn't align with your particular worldview, unsubscribe from me. I don't care. I'm begging you. I'm begging you, go away from here. I don't want you as a subscriber. I don't want you in the conversation. Like, I don't want you. I don't care if I lose thousands of followers. This is what's genuinely right, because I have a biblical worldview. I view everything through a biblical lens. Okay. And this is why, because Jesus, even Jesus said, it talks about in Matthew. Are we in we are in Matthew, but in Matthew 7, he talks about a wide and narrow path, and how the narrow path is hard to find, and that very few people will find it. Go look for yourself. Go read Matthew 7. And I genuinely believe, like, resting on the word of God, not by feelings, not by dreams, by the word of God. I genuinely believe, using this as my foundation, that if you hate Jewish people and this is like your culture and your personality, you're marching in lockstep with the wide path. Like you're not with the narrow path, okay? Because the Bible is built on Jewish principles. I'm sorry, but you like this, it is what it is. And this is why I truly believe what we're seeing in our culture, the hate for Jewish people at a height that is renewing day by day at a higher height and a higher height. They're finding new influencers, fresher faces, newer faces, younger faces to represent this facade of anti-Semitism. This is why I believe spiritually we are seeing such a height in anti-Semitism because Satan truly hates. He hates the Jewish people. Why? Because through the Jewish people came the covenants, through the Jewish people came the prophecies, and through the Jewish people came our Messiah. Like it is the Torah is like it just like it feels like crazy pills because it's like the thing that drives me crazy are the Christians online that are like replacement theorists, and they are chanting this cultist rhetoric of, well, we replaced the Jews. We are the new Jews. And it's like, how can you even say that? Like the Jews are the Jews and we're grafted in according to Paul, I think it's Romans 9 or Romans 11. I think it's Romans 11. We are grafted in with the branches. Why would he say we're grafted in with the branches and that we shouldn't become arrogant, It drives me crazy. I'm ranting right now. I'm not even getting to the point, but it genuinely drives me crazy that Christians would even declare this because this is such a secularist view, and it just shows me that people are Bible illiterate. So anyway, I say that because it's become a secular view now. It's becoming a mainstream view where people like Tucker Carlson are mainstreaming Nick Fuentes in an interview, and Megyn Kelly's not calling out Candace Owens, saying that she's, I welcome her for questioning these things, although she's like Erica Kirk is like right behind her backstage at AmFest, I'm referencing Megyn Kelly at AmFest, but anyway, all that to say, all of this is mainstreaming, and I don't agree with it. Okay, so let's go straight to the word of God. Okay, this is in Matthew 16. Before I rant, okay, I gotta pull the brakes. I gotta pull the brakes on myself because I will rant and rant and rant until I can't rant anymore. Let's go to Matthew 16, verse 25. And this is in reference to what I'm saying about anti-Semitism, being an anti-Semite becoming a mainstream thing. It's becoming popular, it's becoming trendy, it's edgy, the thing that you couldn't say all these times, now people are saying it and they're feeling more edgelordy. And it's like, what gain do you have? You know, if you don't have God in your heart, what gain do you have? It says here in Matthew 16:25, for whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? Okay, let's just that one. 26. Let's just right there. Let's park it. Let's just think about that for a second. What good will it be for someone to gain the whole world yet forfeit their soul? The world. Think about it. The world. What is the world? It's worldly. It's secular. It's like the things of this world, the things that are popular, So if anti-Semitism in the Conservative Party is popular, which by the way, in the horseshoe theory, also the extreme radical left it's also popular to go against Jewish people and all this stuff. That's why I reference the horseshoe theory so much. What good would it be for you to gain that world where you're popular and you're marching in lockstep? It's wild to me because I see these people who proclaim to be Christians, by the way. These are major influencers, people who have a lot of following, who have a lot of influence and a lot of either they're a lot of affluence is like the best word. They're affluent for influence. They are marching in lockstep with agnostics and pagans and atheists who declare like anti-Semitism is the way. And they're like, yeah, it's the way. It's like you're on the wide path. Do you not see that? Do you not see that? Like, I genuinely, if you have this worldview, please in the comment section, tell me how you justify your view, and you're marching in lockstep with the atheists and the pagans and the agnostics of the world, the secularists. How can you justify that your worldview is correct when all of these other people that I just listed also believe that that is correct? How do you think you're on the narrow path? Genuinely, how do you think that you are on the narrow path? You know? I'm honestly wondering how people think that. So what good will it be for someone who gains the world yet forfeit their soul? Or what can anyone give in exchange for their soul? Popularity. Popularity. A lot of people, so that way they're popular, they get their pats on the shoulder. By the way, temporarily. Temporarily. Because you'll get the pats on the shoulder temporarily, and you're gonna get the kudos, and you're gonna get the accolades because you get all these likes from maybe the bots, and people who are genuinely derailed from their beliefs. Like, how do you think that you are exchanging this for God's approval, where really you're exchanging your entire soul for it? Anyway, I have dwelled on this for like a good few minutes, and let's move on. Let's move on. But I wanted to prime you guys with that scripture, because it's like, this is what we're walking into. Know that you don't want to trade in God's approval, God's favor on you for the world and the secular things of this world. And this is what's popular right now. It's wild for me to even say that this is popular, but it is. This is what it is. So let's walk into this a little bit. Where do I want to start? Where do I want to start? So over the weekend, because there was so much strife, so much conflict, um, somebody from TPUSA by the name of Andrew Colvett, who is a person, by the way, that is referenced by Candace Owens very much on her podcast. I have a lot of questions, because Andrew Colvett does seem to be like one of her primary sources in a lot of things that she has brought up. And he doesn't seem to denounce all this stuff. None of I mean, a lot of TPUSA people don't, like the grounds TPUSA people. The pastors of TPUSA faith absolutely denounce all of the anti-Semitism, which I think is a really interesting dynamic. Well, the faith portion does denounce the anti-Semitism, but the base of the voter, the voter initiative, I guess, which is the core of TPUSA, they don't say anything about it. They're about, let's unite. We've got to win elections. That's like their motto. We've got to unite. We've got to win elections. And Andrew Colvett, who is, I forget, I think he's like a head producer or something, like of the Charlie Kirk Show or something like that. He's one of the top people at TPUSA. But he tweeted this out, and he said, "If we force conformity without uncomfortable debates, there can be no winning consensus. There's no civil war. This is the necessary work of a conservative coalition defining its dominant center ahead of the coming battles. We're not hive-minded commies. Let's play it out." Okay. So what I believe Andrew was talking about was all of the strife and the conflict and the combat that was happening within the Conservative Party over AmFest. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, there were many talking heads of the Conservative Party that were budding. We're gonna listen to something from Allie Beth Stuckey, which I thought was so profound and just so aligned with how I think of things. Ben Shapiro, Allie Beth Stuckey, combating with people like Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Megyn Kelly. And, a lot of people online were like, you're acting like children, and you're not, we're not, this is not productive. I sort of kind of understand now why this was held. I am gonna see how they conduct themselves after AmFest. I'm meaning them as in TPUSA, like how they book people. Um, I think it's best that I'm gonna jump to this tweet, and I'm gonna jump back to Andrew Colvett's tweet, because I think that this is super relevant. All right. Let me see. Boop boop boop. Who was it? Who was it? Who was it? Kira. Here it is. Okay. So Kira tweeted this, because we went through Tucker Carlson's speech and how like aligned with jihad and Islam he is as a Christian. It's like Chrislam is like what they're trying to push, and it's like Christianity and Islam we have Abrahamic, whatever, but it's like our ideals just don't align. It's not the same thing. So Kira Davis tweeted this over the weekend. She said, "I deleted this post because I suddenly understood what was happening." And this was the post that she deleted. Andrew Colvett, you know I'm a straight talker. Purge this man. Don't let this enemy inside the gates, please. And so she realized immediately why they booked Tucker Carlson. She immediately realized why this was important to illustrate, because you never interrupt. This is what I responded to. Don't interrupt an enemy when they are in the process of destroying themselves. And I had to ponder about this strategy, and I wonder if this is the strategy that TPUSA was utilizing, because they did host people like like Tucker Carlson. We're gonna go through a post right now of Myron Gaines, the host of Fresh and Fit, who wore a detestable hoodie of Cookie Monster with a bunch of cookies. But the reference to that, we're gonna also look at some video that gives you an explanation to that, and it has something to do with the Jewish people. Yes. Yes. And if you immediately know what the reference is, that's what it is. And I find it detestable, and people are going to be saying First Amendment, First Amendment. No, like morals. How about morals, before anything? So anyway, with that being said, so Kira was like, why would you guys invite Tucker Carlson? That was like the thought behind this post. And then she was like, never mind, I understand why y'all did this. And it's true, because it's like everybody sees like the combating voices. Because I don't think just Ben Shapiro was originally part of like the lineup. Because I think he was just added like spontaneously, and I think that was by design. I think there was a methodology to that, and it was to see a contrast between one side and the other. Now, I just don't know that America is smart enough to not be influenced by the latter side. That is not so smart. That is not aligned with God's principles. So anyway, let me go back to Andrew Colvett, because there was a point to that, because there were some comments there that definitely showed the weight of the culture in the conservative sphere, which I'm pretty proud of. Online, there's a lot of pushback to this weird rhetoric where it's like aligned with Qatar, aligned with Islam, and there's pushback to the woke rights, people that are trying to be affirmed by their identity politics. Somehow it's strange to be back in this place, but it being on our side. Okay, let me find this tweet again. So this is Andrew Colvett. So Andrew Colvett's basically like, guys, let's just unite, I don't know that he did this by experiment either. Like, maybe he did. But basically, there was a lot of pushback to this tweet, including myself, because I genuinely want to make sure that people know there's people like me who don't agree with this. I don't agree with just uniting with the most disgusting people, the scum of the earth. I will not. I will not. Okay. As my thumbnail illustrates, I'm not going to align with these people that are outright anti-Semites and that are blaming everything on Jewish. Like, it's the same thing as the left. The left used to blame everything on white people, right? Right? Like, they used to blame like white people were demonized by the radical left. Now the radical right, the woke right, they're blaming everything on Jewish people. It's like, no, you are responsible for your own life. Like, you're responsible for your own decisions. Anyway, okay. Before I go on a tangent, let me stop myself. So this was my response. I was like, oops, sorry, just calling out the brain rot, which, by the way, Charlie Kirk himself said that anti-Semitism was brain rot within the Conservative Party, and he would not tolerate it. That's what Charlie Kirk said. So I would just think that his friends and his associates, and I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, like, we've got to somehow mold some standards over this. Okay. And I'm like, look, this guy right here, which I'm not sure that I showed you guys this hoodie yet, but this is what I've been referencing all night. But this is Myron Gaines. He is the host of Fresh and Fit podcast, one of the pioneers of the manosphere red pill, where they were, I don't know, it's like the Andrew Tates, and like there was a whole culture about it. I think I made a few videos about it. But yeah, he's part of that atmosphere. He wore this hoodie that said "Let him cook," you know, and a lot of conservatives like myself called it out, like we're not aligning with this, let's just so we should just blind ourselves and like not call it out and just pretend like this doesn't exist and under our own tent. And there's some other people that are commenting like the issue from my perspective isn't one of conformity, but rather about how facts, logic, and values have become secondary. You can't have substantive debates when people don't engage in good faith. Example, Ben made a speech about conservatism and Megan said it was all about Israel. Jake Donnelly says, which by the way, I think I'm going to ask Jake Donnelly to come on to the podcast and just interview him. I think he has a really interesting perspective on like all of this rhetoric, all of this libel against Jewish people. So I think I might invite him on. I think it would be a good conversation. He says, just because you guys call yourselves conservative doesn't mean you are conservative. Ben Shapiro defined conservatism in a way William F. Buckley would approve of. And it doesn't include Cookie Monster baking anything, Tucker Carlson promoting Sharia law or anything like that, which Tucker Carlson did. I don't know that Tucker Carlson promoted, but he definitely passively okayed it. Like, it doesn't sound too bad. I was paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said on his podcast, Sharia law. Okay. People pointing out, a whole bunch of conservatives posing with Myron Gaines, which I'm just gonna I don't know. I don't know Zach Posobiec, which is the guy with the freedom shirt, one of Charlie Kirk's friends. I don't know that he knew immediately that Myron Gaines was wearing the hoodie that he was wearing. That's the only grace that I will give him. But we definitely know who Myron Gaines is and with the rhetoric that he puts out there. So a lot of people they came against all of this, and they pushed back. And I'm really really glad there are people. We don't feel like we're alone in all this, but it is insane that this is becoming so mainstream. Okay, so it's not. And here's the thing. Like, let me just say really quick. Um, as Christians, we are some people that exist in the conservative party. Like, this is our biblical values are first, right? And so any traditional familial values, civic process values that come downstream from biblical values is usually the party we're going to gravitate to, which usually is conservatism, which is why particularly I am a conservative. I would consider myself a conservative. However, the biblical values is first. So the Bible tells us have nothing to do with the deeds of darkness, rather expose them. I am not I don't know about you guys with the Holy Spirit and all that. I don't know if you're just able to sit there comfortable on your couch and just like not call this stuff out or not feel uncomfortable with this stuff. I don't know what Christian would sit there on their couch and just feel comfortable with people within our own tent wearing anti-Jewish, pro, genocide type of hoodies while chanting against genocide. By the way, Myron Gaines chants about the whole Gaza thing, and it's like, how are you going to chant about this but then promote genocide on your hoodie, talking about insinuating, let's correct that, insinuating about the genocide of Jews. Like, how are you going to do that? You know what I mean? Like, that's so hypocritical. I'm not comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with that. So I think conservatives need to recognize their base. I'm not going anywhere. My values are not changing. I have biblical values. That is the way I vote, which I believe voting is very important. I would um, protest what Candace Owens is promoting, not voting the midterms, which I believe is a whole operation. By the way, I think this is a whole operation to fracture the conservative party and to get them to not vote. I am a conservative, but I am a Christian first. And all of my values, they stem from Christianity and biblical values. And that's it. And so for any conservative to say just unite. We got to win the midterms and stuff like that. What values are we promoting if we can't conserve anything? We are regressing. We're not progressing. We are regressing. We are corroding. If we can't conserve, we are conservatives. We're not regressive. I don't know if that's the word, regressive, but we're not corroding our party. We're trying to conserve familial values. We're trying to conserve conservative fiscal spending. Like, we're conservatives. So for anybody to tell me we need to unite with these people, not happening. You need to see who your base is. Your base is Christian conservatives. We are Christian first, and we are obligated by God's word to call this stuff out. And I am not going anywhere. And this is why my following on YouTube is depleting. I don't care. I don't care. If I have a little platform, whether it's a depleting platform or not, this is what my rant is going to be. This is my soapbox. This is what I'm talking about. I am a Christian first, and that is where my values stem from, not just conservatives. So for you to tell me that we need to unite with these people is absolutely unacceptable. And I think that more conservatives need to recognize their base versus trying to change their base. We're not uniting with these people. These people are ridiculous. They're fantasaical. You know what I mean? So anyway, let's go back to the content here because I have a few more things to share with you guys here. Sorry, soapbox. I just needed to rant for a little bit because it just disturbs me that so many conservatives are like just forget what they're saying. Like, forget that they're just talking about genocide and stuff. Like, let's just unite and vote. It's like, no. and Misfit Patriot, although Misfit is a bit more profane in the way he speaks, I agree with his ideas. Like, I do. Like, again, he's profane, and I apologize if you got to govern yourself the way you need to, but his ideas are spot on with the way that he is thinking about it. He says they're not anti-Semitic, and he's talking about this guy right here, along with all the other people that are okay with it. They're not anti-Semitic. They're just asking questions. It's freedom of speech. These are all excuses. I made the decision not to go to AmFest this year before Charlie died because I don't like where I'm seeing the movement going. Hosting Tucker Carlson is only part of it. Mott Walsh told us to unite with these people. Jack Proso is friends with many of them, which he is photographed in that very picture. The Groypers have infiltrated the organization just like Nick Fuentes, said they are allowing it. I'm not for deplatforming or censorship, but that's not what's going on. Common sense conservatives are simply asking the largest organization in the conservative movement to stop normalizing this S. And I agree. Stop normalizing it. Like, that's what we're saying. You know what I mean? Like, Christians are part of your base, and we're going to continue to call this stuff out. We have a moral anchored obligation to do it. We're going to do it. Jesus told us to do it. God told us to do it. And by the way, the Jewish people are these are the replacement theory has been like the biggest nag on my brain, on my last nerve. Like, I can't believe people are trying to argue that Jesus wasn't Jewish. Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, that's how much of a psyop there is in the conservative party. Like, people are actually trying to argue, Groypers are trying to argue that Jesus wasn't Jewish, and that the Jewish people are it's okay to like go against Jewish people and hate Jewish people. Like, that's how much of a psyop it is. Anyway, stop normalizing this S. The Israel psyop is going to destroy this effing party, and many of you are too effing stupid to notice. There are many people at TPUSA who feel the same way, but feeling doesn't mean S. Put this into action, clean house, and you'll be complicit in handing power back to the left. I agree. Stop worrying about your effing popularity. Get back to your principles. There's absolutely nothing wrong with gatekeeping and general hygiene when it comes to these Jew-hating Fs. It's never been about Israel. So I want to go back to what he said. Put this into action, clean house, or you'll be complicit in handing power back to the left. I believe, let me just highlight this part, handing power back over to the left. Just for the conservatives that are listening to this and that are like kind of lax on Christianity, but you're like more interested in the conservatism portion of this. How would you like your our power as conservatives? Right now we're in our prime, baby. We're good. Like we've got it all. We are wasting our golden years. Like we're taking it for granted. How would you like this to be handed back over to the left? What we experienced for years, for decades. How would you like that? The radical left, not the classical liberals. I'm talking about the radical left. How would you like that to happen? Because it's definitely going to happen by turning independence off to all of the Jew hate, to all of this radical fringe ideology, and for passive conservatives saying, "Let's just unite for these for this with this ideology." I don't want that to happen. Do you want that to happen? Like this is fringe ideology. Why are we allowing this to happen? This is precisely why I am utilizing my voice to speak about this, because it is insane to me that conservatives are so hell-bent on just midterms, and they're not hell-bent on principles. The principles will get you the midterms. The principles will get you the midterms. If you can show independence and any swings that, hey, look, we have a handle on our problem, like how much more could you attract even if you just said that? Alex Clark, I'm just going to show you guys this tweet very briefly, but she is a host of a TPUSA podcast, and I'm so proud that she would say something like this. But she said, one thing I'm not going to do at AmFest is pose with griftard division creators who are trying to infiltrate the conservative movement, not conservatives, who are not conservative, is what she was pointing out, as some sort of smooth brain unity take for social, you know? And I think she meant to put one more word there, like social media or something like that. And this was great. I'm glad Alex Clark, good for her being part of I was going to say UTSA, TPUSA. Good for her being part of the organization, being a host with lots of followers, lots of influence. Good for her for taking a stand. And she's been one of the people to take a stand against all of this demonic stuff that's been going on. Good for her. I'm glad that somebody at TPUSA can say, "Look, I am not using my influence, my platform to, photograph myself with people just because they're what? Because they're popular? Absolutely not." Okay. So, let me see. We're getting close to that here. I'm just gonna show you. So this was Myron Gaines. You saw him with the Cookie Monster hoodie, which references the Jewish people being baked in ovens. I don't know if I said that so head on, but that's what he is referencing. And this is why, again, this is why it's like, why are we okaying this? This is not okay. So I believe he got kicked out maybe once or twice in AmFest, and this was one of the instances. I don't know what went on before this moment, but he got into. By the way, his real name is Amru Foodle. I don't know why he changed his name to Myron Gaines, but he got into it with a pregnant lady, and she happened to be Jewish. And here's the thing, like Myron Gaines is so effeminate, he's always getting into fights with women. Like a gossipy, bored housewife with no purpose. You know what I mean? Like this is his, and by the way, I'm not dunking on housewives or anything like that. I'm just saying without purpose, without, some focus. And so they turn gossipy, they turn catty. Gossip and slander is their entertainment, and that I feel like that's Myron Gaines. So he got into it with a pregnant lady.
This girl's a fat fucking Jew. Who gives a fuck?
Oh,
What?
I'm so sorry. I usually am okay. I'm good with warning you guys. This has a ton of profanity, a ton of profane insults to Jewish people. I apologize. I should have warned you guys, but this is who Myron Gaines is. And here he is prancing and frolicking around AmFest. This is what I'm talking about.
This girl's a fat fucking Jew. Who gives a fuck? What? Wait, about what? Wait, what? Wait, who? You guys already talked with Sean about this, right? Like you already fucked that up. Oh, I fucked it up now. Andrew Wilson fucked it up now, right? Okay. This girl's a fat fucking Jew. Who gives a fuck? Run away. Bitch. This girl's a fat fucking Jew. Who gives a fuck?
I'm sorry. I don't mean to play that over and over again, but I just want to show you guys this is who people like Jack Prosobic who are photographing with the people like this is who we're okaying. What is wrong with having a hard stance against this stuff? Okay. So I'm going to end with this because Allie Beth Stuckey had such a phenomenal speech. I'm just going to show you guys just a portion of that speech, but what she said hit the nail on the head. It is okay as Christians to call out all of this and say what is true. Let's just listen to what she has to say because I think that this is a perfect end cap to this entire conversation here.
While I do think it's important to find unity, I actually think that truth is more important than that. You're discouraged by the disagreements and the division and the debates. I understand. It can feel demoralizing. But let me tell you why this happens so much on the right, seemingly more than it happens on the left. There is a difference in the nature of progressivism versus conservatism. Progressivism sets out to destroy. And if you are destroying something, destroying Western civilization, destroying the church, destroying the family, it does not matter how you do it. You don't really have to agree on much. But on the right, on the conservative side, we are trying to build something. And when you're building something, you have to agree on a lot. Most importantly, you have to agree on a foundation. Let me tell you as Christians, what we cannot waver on, what we cannot compromise on, and not everyone is going to agree with us on the right about this, but our job is to pull them over in our direction, not to compromise in their direction, even if people call us divisive for doing so. The foundation must be, for all of our politics, this very basic idea that we were made by a creator in his image whose power transcends that of the government. And therefore, this creator and this creator alone is the giver and the determinant of our rights, the arbiter of what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is false. Because without that foundation, what are we doing? Without that foundation, the idea of limited government or the sovereignty of the individual or the legitimacy of borders, none of that makes a whole lot of sense.
I mean, I think her speech was the best speech out of everybody. Allie Beth Stuckey hit it on the nail. I think her speech was the best out of everybody. What good is any of this? What good is any of this if we are not seeking truth? Who cares if we unite with these people or not? We're not called to. The Bible doesn't say unite with conservatives. It says unite with God's principles and to spread that gospel and to live that way. We're sinners. We're not going to be perfect in living out this life of Christianity, adhering Christian principles. You know what I mean? Heck, I know. For instance, I am not a perfect Christian whatsoever, but the Christian principles anchoring biblical prescriptions are what keep your life. He said that he would give you life in abundance. It's not abundance and prosperity. It's not the materialism. It's not the prosperity. It's godly principles. It's wisdom. That's what I truly believe that he meant by that. I don't think he meant material possessions and money and yachts and cars and things like. I don't think God was thinking about our American lens of Christianity. I think he was thinking about wisdom and how to give us the most out of life by adhering these biblical principles. I think if we do that, that is how we gain an abundant life. And so what are we to do with this life if we're just compromising with secularist views of conservatism? Just vote, just unite with these people, win elections, And it's like, I will not unite with these people. So consider the Christian before you chant this motto that we just need to unite. I think that is like the biggest mistake that conservatives are doing right now, especially the talking heads that are like, it's just drama. It's not just drama. These are principles. And we see a lot of the people under our same tent violating these principles pretty heavily. And this is why we call it out. It's not that we're obsessed, it's that it keeps happening, and we have to keep doing it. We have to keep doing it. We have to keep doing it. There is a moral obligation, especially people who have a platform, to keep doing this, and I particularly will keep doing this. I don't care how many thousands of followers I will lose. I don't care. Let it weed out. I don't care. The people that need to hear this message will need to hear this message. Adhere to your principles, whatever platform you have, whether it's just a small circle of friends and family, and you're like, hey, that's not cool. Like, I'm confident in saying that. Like, this is not cool. Like, I'm not voting for that. I'm not uniting with these people. Keep calling it out. That's what you're obligated to do. So anyway, I will be back tomorrow. And then off for the Christmas week. Probably, like I said, if anything major happens, boop 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 boop, at around I don't know, the Christmas days, maybe I'll hop on. I don't know. But my mindset right now is to just punch out and to enjoy Christmas and family and things like that. So I love you guys. Let me just take a gander at my chat here, just to make sure that I didn't read anything. There we go. Butler had millions of followers, but Jesus only had 12. So stay true. Amen. That's great. That's great. He only had 12. He only had 12. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Love it. I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll see what happens. That's what happened over the weekend. And I hope you guys have a great night. I'm feeling a lot better, a lot better. I will see you guys in tomorrow's stream. Have a great night. Bye, guys.